Hi, and welcome to Review 2. So starting off right away, we have a bunch of multiple choice questions, which lots of us tend to have difficulty with. So be careful to write all your steps as we go along the way. So first question is just simplifying an exponent. So my suggestion is always to rewrite the positive exponents first on all of the variables so that you don't have any negatives around that are going to mess you up for your calculations. And then we can start simplifying the different groups. So for example, looking at the threes, I have a 3 to the 3 on the bottom and a 3 to the 2 on the top, which leaves me a 3 to the 1 on the bottom. The x cubed and the x2 are going to give me an x to the 1 on the top. The y's, y to the 5. Z2 on the bottom, z to the 1 on top is going to leave me z on the bottom. So right away, your answer is A. Kind of make sure when you're looking at the other ones that there's nothing too close to it that reveals a problem that you may have forgotten about. Question 2, multiply and answer in scientific notation. Now, just to say, you may have chosen to go directly to number 4 since you're in exponent mode, but I'm going to go with number 2. And look at this. You're going to multiply the coefficients together, 5.12 times 6.25, which is equal to 32. Then we're going to add the exponents on the tens, and that's going to be times 10 to the negative 5. Now, unfortunately, if you jump right to the answers at this point, you're going to put the wrong answer probably, because this is not in scientific notation. You need to move the decimal one place to the left so that it's going to be in scientific notation. The number gets smaller, so the exponent has to get bigger. But remember, negative 5, like on a thermometer, goes up to negative 4. So your answer is answer B. Question 3. This one seems to have given people problems because they weren't sure what to do with the 128. You're supposed to recognize that that is 2 to the 7 times 2 to the 17, and then divided by 2 to the negative 4, which would be over 2 to the negative 4. And then putting this together, this would be 2 to the 24 on top, 17 and 7, times 2 to the positive 4, because that moves up to the top, equals 2 to the 28. A. Question 4. This one is talking about an important little trick, I guess, or twist, because it's asking you which one is not equivalent. And the problem with this example is it makes you have to do all 4 answers. So the 8 over 32 reduces, to 1 over 4. The a to the 2 becomes a denominator, a to the positive 2, and the b to the 4 stays on the bottom. And now it's a question of comparing it with the 4 answers. This one with the squared on the bracket becomes 1 squared, which is 1. 2 squared is 4. A squared b to the 4. Remember, we multiply in the exponent to all 4 of the factors. In the next question, the a to the squared is going to move down to negative 2. So the 2 to the 2, which is a 4, the a squared, and the b to the 4. So far, these guys are matching up. Question C. This one has the a squared on the bottom already. 4 to the negative 1, b to the negative 4 are going to move to the bottom also. So 4a squared, b to the 4, and you don't leave the top blank. So it's looking like D might be the odd man out. Negative 2 to the 2 does not move to the bottom. That's going to be negative 4 on the top. And the a squared and the b to the 4 are on the bottom. So that is the false statement, the one that's not equivalent. Question 5. Polynomial expression, trinomial. You might be tempted to factor this. Read the question first. Which one of the following statements is false? The constant term is 17, positive. The power in the first term, that's the base and the exponent together, so that one's fine. It is a trinomial. And so letter D, the coefficient of the second term, that's the number that's multiplied in front, and you have to include the sign with that. So it's actually supposed to be negative 5. So there is your false statement. Remember to double check all of your multiple choice. Be absolutely certain you've checked the wrong answers are wrong. Number 6 is testing you on some of your exponent skills. Anything to the 0 is 1, so I just use A for anything. I would accept full marks for any value you would put there. Question B, something to the negative 3 is 0.001. Now, this might remind you of scientific notation, which it is, or at least connected to, because it's a base 10, which is 1/1000th when you go 10 to the negative 3. Question C, because the exponent is negative, then there's going to be an idea of reciprocal going on here. And because the exponent is a 2, which means squaring, we need a value that would square to give a 9 and a value that would square to give a 5. So the 3 is going to go on the bottom because of the negative exponent, and the 5 is going to go on the top. In question D, this one should be straightforward. I really don't know how to explain anything but the fact that it's got 4 zeros, so it's again 10 to the 4. Now be careful about an exponent of a half. That means square root. And whatever value you're going to put in there has to square root to give a 9. In this case, not 3, but 81. And letter F, anything to the 1 is going to stay the same thing, so I need a 49 as my base. So far, so good. Moving on to the next page. Missing exponents. Now be careful because the exponents might be negative or positive. They may be whole numbers or fractions. 3 to the what is 81? You're supposed to remember your exponents or just go 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. In this case would be 3 to the 4. 100 to something gives you a 1. Well, the only exponent that works for that is 0. Anything to the 0 is equal to 1. Letter C, 9. Now, same deal as with letter A. We go 9 times 9 is 81, times 9 is equal to 729. So it's an exponent of 3. In question D, we have a reciprocal idea going on. The 16 winds up on the bottom of the fraction. You're supposed to recognize that 2 to the 4 is equal to 16, so the fact that it's on the bottom means that the exponent must be a negative 4. And just letter E, same deal. 3 to the 4 is equal to 81, so it's negative 4 for that exponent. All right, here we go. Hold your breath. We got lots of exponents to work with in number 8. Do them slowly, carefully, and one little detail at a time. Now, the priority is number 1, get rid of brackets. Number 2, get rid of negative exponents. And then number 3, put all the common bases together. So in this case, the top is going to wind up as, actually I'll write it underneath, is going to wind up as 3x. The y to the 1 is going to go on the bottom. 8 stays on the top. X is going to just become a 1, so I won't even bother to put it, and the y. And a 6 is going to be on the bottom, which I'll put out in the front. See what I can simplify. I have the 3 over 6, which is going to be a half, but there's also an 8 there. So 3 times 8 is 24, minus 6 is 4. You might want to cross these things off as you go. And then we have the y's. There's a y on the top and a y on the bottom. Both of those guys are going to disappear. Just y to the 0, or just nothing. So at the end of it all, your answer is 4x. B. Negative exponent there, but I really don't have to change it to the bottom of a fraction just because of the question. You just group up the like things. So I got the 6 times the 5. When I remove the bracket, it's just going to be a 30. X to the 2 and x to the 3 are going to be x to the 5. And y to the negative 5 and y to the 2 is going to be y to the negative 3. Now that's not acceptable as my final answer. The exponent that's negative has to move to the bottom. Question C. 2 to the 8 on the top, 2 to the 2 on the bottom. This negative floating in front just stays intact. So 2 to the 8, 2 to the 2 is 2 to the 6. W to the 6, W to the 2, the W to the 6 goes to the bottom, and together they form W to the 8. V to the negative 3, V to the negative 12. I'm going to do this in 2 steps. I'm going to put the V to the 12 on the top and the V to the 3 on the bottom, and then simplify it in the next step. Now be aware, this negative on the 2 does not mean put it in the bottom. It just sits out in front. It is not exponented by the power of 6. It stays negative. W to the 8 stays there, and the V's are going to be V to the 9 on the top. Question D. We have this negative 1 exponent. Now you could take the time and put the negative into all 6 of those factors, but that's going to be a lot of work. The simpler way is to just say that the negative one means reciprocal. So as you remove the bracket, 30x to the 5, y to the 4 goes on top, and 25x to the negative 3, it stays negative, y to the 7 on the bottom. And now we clean it up. 30 over 25 is going to be divided by 5. Top and bottom is 6/5. The x to the 5 and the x to the 3. The x to the 3 moves up, negative 3 moves up, is going to be x to the 8 on top. And y to the 4, y to the 7, the y to the 7 wins by 3, y to the 3 in the denominator. Letter E, we have lots of brackets here. We got to remove them and don't lose any of the details. P squared, r to the 4, s to the negative 2 when you multiply that exponent in. There is no exponent on the second bracket. It's just going to wind up as it is, p to the negative 2, s to the 5, and r to the 3. One big bracket. The p squared on top, the p to the negative 2 on the bottom is going to be p to the 2. The s to the 5 on top, and the s to the negative 2 is going to go on top as s to the positive 2, and the r to the 3 and the r to the 4. Now don't lose any details along the way, right? You make sure you haven't left behind any of the powers. P's going to cancel, right? They both match. S to the 7 on the top, right? The 5 and the 2 come together. And the r to the 7 on the bottom. You might be tempted to rewrite this as a bracket to the exponent 7. Don't. Simplify means no brackets. Letter F. Remove the brackets. You're going to be left with 6m squared n times negative 5kn. Now the negative I'm actually going to put out in the very front so I don't think that it's a subtraction. On the bottom, 10k to the negative 1 mn. I should move that k to the 1 up, but I'm going to take care of that right away before I forget and see that the k to the negative 1 on the bottom is going to match up with the k to the 1 on top, giving me k to the 2 on top. The m's, m to squared on top, m to the 1 on the bottom is going to give me an m on top. And the n cubed and the n and the n, watch out, there's 3 of them here. So I'm going to cancel the 2 n's like that. And remember that it's just going to be n cubed on the top. I got the m's, got everything out of the way. Negative 6 times 5 is negative 30. Negative 30 over 10 is negative 3. Negative 3k squared mn cubed. And I don't need that line for the fraction anymore. Okay, let's pause this, and I'll be starting the rest of this on the next video.